Hey, Bill and Sean and Tiffany and Joe. So I get questions all the time about what it's like to actually keep goats. We're not experts. This is our first time doing it, but have done a lot of research on the interwebs and books, and I'll share a little bit what it's like to actually be a goat mom. The first thing is, this is their stall, and we have to come out here every week and make sure that they have fresh hay and that we clean out this stall. It's called mucking the stall. And then we put this stuff right in the compost. We have a special composter that we use for the garden, and we compost just other material. But this is where they sleep at night. And part of keeping goats is making sure that they have a clean, dry, and safe place to sleep. So I'll just show you around a little video tour of what it's like to keep goats. The next part about keeping goats is that we always need to make sure that they have a plentiful supply of fresh hay. Now, we keep this right here in this little box so that they can pull from it and eat this fresh hay. Now, goats are actually pretty particular, and if we actually let any of the food drop on the floor, they won't eat it. So they're kind of a pain in the butt that way. And so we got to keep the hay up and make sure that it's fresh. So that's the next part of keeping goats. So goats are kind of like imps. They're just very playful and very interested. These guys, I really believe, hi buddy, I really believe they wish they, or think they are dogs. But they're playful and they're funny, but they do require a lot of attention. He's got a beard, see? One of the biggest headaches with the goats is that they get into everything. And so Stace and Will are trying to fix the fence because they have found a way to get through the fencing, and then they end up on our porch, which is not good. We're trying to keep the animals back on this part of the land and then have our own space in the front. Otherwise, they pretty much eat every single thing that we've planted, and it all looks pretty rough right now. Goats are actually quite playful with each other, and they're always, they play with their horns and they headbutt, and this is how they play. They lock horns like that, and sometimes it looks pretty aggressive, but they're actually having fun. You can also notice too, on the very top of their backs, their hair starts to raise up, and that is when they are either agitated or when they're really, really playful. But this is Boris and Gary, and this is how they play. Sometimes they will, there you go. That's just how they play. Here comes Mysore getting into the mix. Now Mysore is the white one, and Gary is the black and white one, and they're brothers. And then Boris, we got him at another farm. But you can see, they play all day, climbing on the play sets and all kinds of stuff. Another thing that's really important about taking care of goats is making sure that we're always brushing them. We brush our goats twice a day, in the morning and then again at night before they sleep. And that's mostly just to make sure that they stay really clean and that they don't get stinky, because they don't smell at all. Also, it feels really nice for them, but it also makes sure that they don't get any mites, and just helps keep them really clean. Next up, I'll show you how I have to trim their hooves, because keeping their hooves clean and trimmed is really, really important, so that their feet stay healthy too. Mostly as we start to getting into wet weather. The last part of goat care is we need to make sure that we always check their hooves and we keep them nicely trimmed. So we just use regular clippers. We just hold they're actually in pretty good shape. They don't like it, it's not fun, it's usually a 2 or 3 man job. But it's really important that we make sure that we keep their hooves trimmed and flush. Otherwise they can get lots of bacteria and make them sick. So guys, that's pretty much what it's like taking care of goats. it's pretty easy for the most part, but when people ask whether or not they should consider goats, the answer is, do you have the extra time, the extra cash, because it's all of the mouths to feed, and also the veterinarian care is like twice a year. They come to our house instead of us going there, but they're a lot of fun. They're you eating me? They're a lot of fun, but they're impish, and you have to have the right mindset for it. Otherwise, it could be a really frustrating experience, because they do get into everything. So with that, guys, hopefully you've learned something about goats, and hopefully I've answered some questions that you might have. Okay, bye-bye.